I'm really excited about talking to you today because so what I've been doing, and as you know, has kind of been, I started my kind of not founders, but I stepped into a CEO role a couple of years ago, and man, it was just like, talk about jumping into the deep end and just learning. And I wish I had a little more structure, or, hey, here's your little short manual on what you should know and how you should kind of, and don't forget all the things you've learned throughout the years. And so I'm kind of I'm meeting with some founders and just talking to them about what their journey's been. And so I think I've got 15 kind of 20-minute sessions, and just, it's been so good to hear people's journeys and stories and how they made the leap to get, maybe unstuck, or how they actually just were like, I got fired, I had to go do this, or I had to step in, or I've always been an entrepreneur. And, and so it's been really fun to hear their stories, and there's definitely some good themes and lining to happen. But the reason I'm really excited to talk about what you're doing and this idea of stuff, because I'm also hearing from some people that are just like, there's been a lot more posts, a lot more sharing on how, and I was reading this great post by Scott Clarity. He was talking about a lot of people live other people's outcomes or lives. So you kind of live your expectation through what other people are thinking you should be doing, and then you lose yourself. And so it's been really interesting to kind of think about being stuck, because I've kind of had to reinvent myself just in this last 8 months, like going from a CEO, then figuring out like, man, okay, imposter syndrome or failure or this or that, and then trying to go, well, what do I want to do now? And so being able to kind of feel that point of being stuck and how to step out of it, I think is super. I think there's a lot of people you can help. And so I guess with that, like, what do you think actually leads to people feeling stuck? Like, what's your focus point on helping? Where do you start, and where do you think people are actually just getting themselves into a rut and they can't get out?
So this actually came out of some of our planning for Waypoint Retreat, was that question, like, what is it that makes people feel stuck? And I think what we started to do or look at was looking into some research around goal setting in general, because like eating vegetables and exercise, it feels like goals, like, of course, goal setting would be good for you, but like eating and exercise, or eating well and exercise, it's just not easy, but it's all psychological. So what is that? And turned out it's part of the human condition. Like, our brains didn't evolve to be good at thinking about your next 3, 6, 12 months. Of course, this is a new thing. So it's an entirely new skill set. So I think what's interesting is it's a survivor bias of seeing people out there crushing it, is people that have really got their hands or arms wrapped around this notion of setting a goal and going after it. But that's the exception, not the rule. So by default, being stuck is normal. Congratulations, you're human. The default is being stuck, or feeling the sense of being stuck, because it's hard to set this broad aim for yourself, and it's much easier to put one foot in front of the other. But then I think to go down the path of, well, now I do want to get unstuck, like what might the actual process be? I think we started with, okay, well, why am I stuck is a good place to start. And so not surprisingly, we came up with an acronym for helping to diagnose that, and it's STUCK, S-T-U-C-K. So first thing is stuck. So the S is self-doubt. Like, we get stuck thinking about, like, why me? Like the imposter syndrome, like, who am I to do this thing or that thing? T, the idea of, I think, trade-offs, and thinking about, well, if I don't, if I were to go and chase that big dream, think about what I might have to leave behind. Or like, if I want to go for that big job, time away from family, or if I want to write a book, I might have to quit my job and eat rice and beans for a year. So that's trade-offs. U is just being unclear. Like, what do I do? Like, what would I even do? C is getting stuck in your comfort zone. So just like, I'm comfortable where I am, or I'm good enough. And like, why shoot for more if I'm good where I am? Because moving is uncomfortable. And then K is just not having the knowledge to go and do the thing you might want to do. And so I think think about stuck as being a default, but then working through, if you go STUCK, like which of those things is it for me? You're going to get a different path to take based on what it might be. Is it some self-work I have to do? Do I have to go and close some knowledge gaps? I think just naming it and calling it out is the place to start.
It's the first place to start. No, that makes sense. And some of the things that I've got from talking to, you know, the 15 founders that and like just trying to understand like what made you just have the comfort to leap versus not. And a lot of them are, you know, it's the feedback they gave if they could tell their younger self was, you know, uber focused, like stay focused on what you're good at. Don't try to be this shotgun approach and do everything, and be okay with good is good enough kind of theme. Like you're not going to have all the answers. You're not going to be perfect. So don't wait. You got to be moving forward and make progress. So, okay. I like the stuck stuff. So I guess no, it's a great acronym. And I agree. Like there's certain things where if you look at yourself, you're good at certain things and maybe you just don't recognize that. And so maybe the places you're stuck aren't as maybe deep as you thought, or as big as a problem for you just to be okay with moving forward.
Yeah. I forget exactly. I wish I could attribute this properly because it's certainly not my idea, but it is this notion of we do tend to really value where others are strong, and we see the strengths of others way before we see the strengths of ourselves. So an exercise that just even got us started was, again, the person I'd love to attribute it to. I could attribute it to you, Lee. I'll just say it was Lee Roquette kind of gave us this. I don't know where it came from exactly, but it was the reflection was what are the things that that people come to you for, or ask for your help with. If you're an engineer, what's a coding problem that you tend to get questions about from colleagues and peers? If you're a leader, you know, are there people asking you specific questions about specific things? I think even friends can help be a really good guide for what you're good at. And quite often the things that you're good at are invisible to you. But if you do that reflection on, you know, what are the things that people tend to say I'm good at or come to me for advice on, or things that I tend to help people with, that can be a really good guide to identifying like what might some of those strengths be. Because I love what you're saying. I, for years, didn't start my own thing, didn't start my own business because I thought I needed, as a sales go-to-market type leader, I needed an engineering.
Oh, no.
Now in this business is my partner and wife who on the surface, we have similar skill sets, go-to-market skills, selling, customer success, software industry, but we see the world in very different ways. She's got a heart of empathy, deep empathy, and I've got a really logical brain. I think it's a good partnership, and we didn't need the engineer to launch it.
Yeah. No, and I think it's funny because this journey that I've been on too personally is just I got gung-ho, and it's kind of how I'm always jumping in, and I just all in, go, okay. And so I've started my XM Elevation like 5 months ago, and then I got completely fear-based, and I don't know how to. I'm not great at marketing and all that stuff. I've done it. I've managed teams who do that, but like me by myself to do all that work, to go build a business and put yourself out there, and it's scary, and and then I just kind of came into the conclusion just like a month ago. I'm like everything is scary. Starting a new job at a corporation where you don't know anyone and you have all the doubts and fears, and you want to just progress and move forward.
Totally.
And then if it doesn't work out, great. I learned a ton. I'm going to do something else. Like it doesn't have to define who I am, the things I try to do and accomplish. So
yeah. If you put economics aside for a minute, which like we have to come back to because economics are like a real constraint that need to be considered. The question of, you know, if I did this thing, if I pursued this interest of mine, and if it didn't go well, what's the worst possible thing that would happen? And I think you're right. I just get a different job, or I will have learned a bunch and I will get a different job, or I will get this other thing. And in another conversation where we can dig in longer, I will tell you the story of what happened to me selling cheese that opened my mind to the notion of believing in myself that once you lean into a thing,
Yeah.
Like the world leans back and then things just start to happen, and you won't be able to predict where you'll be a year from now if you just start. So taking the financial constraint out of it, just quite often, if I try whatever it might be, 6-12 months from now, could I get myself back on track in some way? What would the worst case scenario be? And I think quite often it's not nearly as bad as we think it's going to be. It's all scary, as he said.
And it is amazing when I kind of have the mindset of being all in, what doors open up for you.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's apologies for what might seem like a violent visual, but Whitney and I at one point sat as we were approaching Waypoint and getting ready, recruiting for it. And we just weren't getting hits.
Yeah.
Love the idea, can't make it. Love the idea, can't make it. Too much, whatever it might be. And we were genuinely feeling really defeated. And at some point I said to Whitney, if somebody held a gun up to one of our kids' heads and said, it's over for this kid if you don't get 20 people there, could we fill it? And it was like, well, of course we could. Like, of course, if that happened, like, God forbid something horrible. But I don't think when you're in a job and you're earning a salary and you're moving from one step to the next, your life doesn't rely on it.
Yeah.
Your reputation doesn't really rely on it. It's like, that is the difference between being a founder and being an employee for sure. But if you really think about what are you capable of when push comes to shove, if a terrible thing were to happen, it's shocking how much we can accomplish. And yes, Lee, we filled the retreat, right? And no horrible acts.
No, you didn't have
on our family. But when you rethought it, it was like, of course we can.
Yeah, it's just being that. Well, in that book I sent you that I just finished, the Science of Scaling.
Yes.
From Dr. Ben, and I can't remember his last name now. But in that book, when I was reading it, what he goes deep into is that typically most people set the goals that are they become vanilla. They become, especially in business, you're just like, no one really wants to fail, but you don't really set the bar high enough to actually challenge where you actually want to be. So a lot of his programs are about, people come to him, business leaders, like, man, I just want to get to 1 million. Well, why not 10? Oh, I'd have to do great. 10 million, buddy. And what would you have to do? And he has all these amazing stories where people are just like, when you're confronted with an almost impossible goal, it changes your wiring in the way you think in your brain to then come up with ways to actually do something different, which I think is is like almost being stuck in business. Is you're like, quarterly, Q4 goals. What are we going to do? Oh, these 3 or 4 things. And then, but it is really achieving the larger outcome of what the business needs, be profitable, 10x your return, whatever that is. Or if you're, a founder and you want to get to that place, I don't know. It's really an interesting thing. A book just to read some of the concepts really got me going, like, man, and that kind of gave me the confidence to go, well, why not for me to do my own thing and speak about what I love and help people, get to that next level. So what do you think? Why is it so hard for people to get unblocked?
Unfortunately, a big thing that holds a lot of people back is, and this came up in a conversation we were just having, it's urgency.
Okay.
It's the STUCK, the C of comfort zone is pretty powerful. Yeah. And, I've got this idea, I've got this thing I want to do, feels hard, whether it's 70K, 80K, 100K, 200K, whatever you're earning, starts to feel a lot more comfortable than the scary unknown of the other thing. And I think urgency is a big question mark that I think we got to solve or crack the nut on if we're going to, ourselves be, 20x, 100x successful in building this program. Because how do you take somebody who has that great idea that they're sitting on and convince them that now is the time to do it? And I wouldn't wish, I mean, what it was for both of us was a life crisis that I went through that set my life on a whole different path. And so having my partner diagnosed with cancer and then pass away is something that's going to change my life and perspective. And people are going to look at that and go, well, of course, like of course your perspective is going to change. And that scary thing you did that one time, well, that doesn't make this that scary. For you, Greg, I see how that could be motivating for you. True.
Oh, no. There we go. Okay, you're back.
Yeah. My wish for everyone is to consider the fact that life itself is a terminal condition. And if you were to look at our example and look at, I had a wife diagnosed at 33 and pass away from brain cancer. That changed the course of my life. I'm not trying to scare anyone into thinking, well, this could happen to you too, but she'd never had the chance to pursue things that she might have wanted to. She did a lot, but there might have been things that she never had the opportunity to do. And if somebody can see something in our story or in that story that makes them go, okay, I'm human, I'm mortal, maybe it's worth trying something different. I think that's what we want to use. We're not telling the story to glorify, I think, ourselves so much as to say, look, like life is terminal. Bad things are going to happen. Why not just give it a try? And to the comment that so I'd say the biggest blocker is the comfort zone. And so for anyone who considers or contemplates, I've got this idea, it's do some serious introspection on why haven't you done it? And it's probably that comfort zone and it's tightly tied to fear.
100%. Yeah. Do you think a lot of people have been it's funny because it's great to talk to you about this because it is like the journey that I've been on this last 6 months is just trying to get to that place of, and as I've been talking to people, do you think people set the wrong expectation of what success means? Thus it becomes something so unattainable?
I think that, again, I'm having an attribution fail. Like Daniel Priestley is an entrepreneur guru who I love, any of what he says. And I think that he was talking about at some point, there's an article that I could probably send you that he was talking about the fallacy of overnight success. Yeah. And similar to this idea that when we see people crushing it out there, we go, well, I just don't have that. They have a thing that I don't. It's like, no, they've just pushed through the fear that you have. You just haven't done that thing yet. And I think the notion of every success is not an overnight success story. It's been years in the making, and it's been small wins, little bits at a time. What gets celebrated is the $1 billion exit or the millions of people impacted. And I think so. If I could be very concrete, we started our business in January of this year, so we're 9 months into it, and we've generated a reasonable amount of revenue, and we've hardly paid ourselves for this year. And by all external measures, we look incredibly successful, because that's kind of the funny thing about being in business is you have to appear successful. But we planned for that. We said, okay, look, we're going to need to put some structure in place that we're going to account for making $0 in revenue, zero income for a year, and then slowly ratchet that back up. If you have $100,000 in savings, depending on your lifestyle choices, like you have tools at your disposal to give yourself 3, 6, 12 months of runway to try. And you're not going to throw yourself into financial distress, or you're not going to lose your home and your entire life. But I think we're so afraid of the idea of, oh my God, 3 months without income, 6 months without steady income. The trick of it is, once you're off the treadmill, it all of a sudden becomes a lot less scary, which is exactly what's happened to us. So we're now, call it 10 months into this, and we're starting to generate enough revenue that we can pay ourselves. And I guarantee that 3-4 years from now, if somebody were to look at us, we'll look like this incredible overnight success story of, look at these guys, just bursting on the scene with thousands of followers and all this great stuff. But we're in the mode right now. We're in it now of these are the days that I suppose without the attention and the glamour, we're not the success story that people are looking to yet. We're building it.
Yeah.
And I think that if more people can see that, I think it
Yes.
will motivate them to try.
Yeah. Well, I
and-
mean, I similar story. My wife, who's a rock star, she started a business right the month before the great housing downturn in 2008. And the business didn't make money. She didn't pay herself for almost 8 years. So, but every year it was growing and growing and establishing. And now she's got an amazing business after 18 years. But it was a really hard, and we had lots of those talks of like, man, do we stop? Do we keep going? And all the signs were just pointing to just got to go in. But I think you're right. I mean, everyone has those stories, and the people that I've been talking to too, they're like, yeah, same thing. You hear all these, man, I just woke up and I started a company and we got $1 billion valuation. But behind every one of those stories is 10 years of grinding, of doing things, of learning and helping other businesses or, developing yourself. And so I think that realization that, it all starts and it's hard work and it's not easy. And it's that commitment. I love that you get off the treadmill because you just start doing things. And I'm a firm believer of, if you put your passion and will and focus and goodness out towards a direction, it might not be the direction you end up, but it'll be the place that you start with your navigation of where you're going to be able to contribute the best and most to whatever you're trying to achieve. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah. There's something about what you're saying. I love that you shared your story of you and your wife of 8 years of work before really meaningfully paying yourself, or for her to meaningfully pay herself. That would have terrified the hell out of me. Years ago. So I'm trying to think of how to frame that for my old self, for anyone who might say, like, be in that same position that I was stuck in. And I think that there's something about looking at, okay, do the math on whatever you got in your savings account, your investment portfolio, do the math and actually say, okay, here's how much I spend every month in my fixed costs. And this is an exercise we actually do with people, because once you do it, you go, oh, okay. But you just say, here are my fixed costs, my non-negotiables, the money that automatically comes out every month, rent and car payments, etc. Then here's my variable expenses. So these are things that I can flex and fluctuate. Add that up. How much expense is that? Then go over and look at how much cash do I have, not 401ks or RSPs in Canada and the US, but cash savings, if any. Who's a rich uncle or aunt that I could get a loan from in a pinch? Like, add all those numbers up. And then add up the access to a line of credit or debt, any of that you might have. So you have your monthly costs, and then you have all the cash that you might have available to you. And like I said, if it's 100,000, throw in the rich aunt, uncle, friend, whoever who could just loan you a bit of cash in a pinch, and divide how many months of runway you have. Just like, and this is without the tax complications or interest rates going up or whatever. But once you do that math and you go, okay, like, I know I've got to save for retirement. I know I've got to do that. But if I have a thing that I want to do, businesses burn cash all the time without apology. And it's investing for the future. If you want to quit your job and go to the beach for a while, that sounds like retirement early. Okay, you can do that, but you won't get financial freedom from that. If you have an amazing idea or something that you just want to do, and whether it's a side hustle or whether you go all in on it, that's your cash runway. And you have, like, everyone has at least a little.
No, you don't know how. A friend of mine always told me, because he had a situation where he was forced into he's like, you don't know how deep you can go until you're forced to actually put a plan in place around that depth.
Exactly. Just do the math. Like, we're all like, we need $1 million for retirement. Yep. Yes. Sure you do. Like, okay. But you're 40, you're 35, you're 50, like, you're not retired yet. You got another 10, 15, 30 years of working time. Like, give it a shot. Future you will thank you.
Yeah. And a lot of things too is like, you can be doing things and maybe it is like, I hate my job. I really want to do this. Okay. Well, maybe you go get that side job and then you can commit half time to doing whatever you want to do. I mean, when I left my last job as CEO, I had, 90 days of kind of a nice severance. And so I'm like, I want to learn to code. So I built an application and I launched it, and it's like kind of a side thing. And I love it. I mean, I could sit there for 8 hours coding some solution for somebody, and I was so happy. And then now it's like getting back into work and stuff. It's like, okay, that's cool too. But, I think, people realizing like it doesn't have to be all in or all out. It can be kind of this path, but I think having that plan and the financial understanding, like, what's this look like? So I guess that like the antidote of kind of feeling stuck, or, what are the steps like people can take today? Like if they're feeling like, okay, I want to get moving, I don't know what to do. Like, what are some things you could guide some people on that would help?
Yeah, I think that I'm gonna answer this in two ways, because there's the one way, which is like self-promotion, like take our program and it'll help you, because the program absolutely will help you. So I have to say that. So yes, if you got something you want to do, we Vienna Waits offers this program. It's called Unblock Yourself, and it's all about, I've got an idea, and then we've got a very tactical action plan that you can put it in place and say, here's what I want to achieve. Here's what I want to be 6-8 weeks from now. Then I have people that are around me. So I've got connections with others that's going to help with that. I've got some content and programming to help organize that into something meaningful. And then I've got the accountability of people that are saying, hey, did you do the thing? Did you do the thing? Did you do the thing? So that combination of connection, some structure, and then accountability is really powerful.
That's good.
And those things are what we package into the program, and it makes it really useful. So if you got an idea, I would say would love to support anyone to help bring an idea to life through the Unblock Yourself program. But tactically, if you're like, maybe not a programmer now, I don't want to make that sort of investment, I'm just feeling stuck, I don't even know where to start, I think that the STUCK self-assessment is a good place. Because what is it? For anyone, it's like, am I doubting myself? If I have an idea of something that I think I might like to do, why am I not doing it? Why do I feel stuck? And I think do that self-assessment of, am I doubting myself? Am I worried about the trade-offs? Because I've had that. I wanted to be a speaker at one point, and I looked at it, I'm like, I don't want to travel and leave my family. And so I'm like, well, so maybe I'm not going to do that. So I looked at those trade-offs. The U is like, again, unclear. Like, I just haven't actually sat down and thought about what it is. That's valid. C, comfort zone, like, which we talked about. And then K is the knowledge gap. I would say 100%. If somebody is feeling like stuck, I'm just like burning out, I don't like what I'm doing, I know there's something else that I would like to be doing instead, doing a self-assessment of those 5 things, I think, is a great place to start.
Okay, good. No, I'm glad you're back. No, I think that was such a powerful outline. I think the stuck, and I think, you got to start with really an introspective of actually what you want, like, and what that means to move forward and what it looks like. And then, I'm a huge fan of journaling and vision boards and, just meditation, and really just but all of that with the idea of like, what does a path look like? And, what does the future me want to be? And then understanding how you get there. And I think that can only come from some really hard reflection on kind of the stuck, like a stuck type program. I think that's great.
Yeah. Well, I think once you name it, and we talk about this too, is like how to like overcome resistance, and how to just, if you've got an idea, it's like take action, name it, whatever that problem is, and then go together, get others with you that are invested in that. That's T. So make the resistance feel small, like an ant, A-N-T, ant, clever. And naming it is so powerful, whether it's journaling or just talking to other people about it, for sure.
I agree, man. I think and also I think being okay with knowing it's hard, it's scary, it's a lot of work. It's not just I'm just going to move this direction and everything's going to be easy. It's twice as hard, 3 times as hard, 4 times as hard to actually go on your own path than the comfort, security of being not on your own path, maybe. So I think, that is okay to say, and it is okay to embrace.
It's interesting, because I wonder for you, Lee, if you think about it, like it probably felt harder, but now that you're doing it, I question, like, does it feel harder? Does it still feel harder? Or now that you're following this path, I'm curious, because if I was like, hey, Lee, I'd love to offer you a job to run this company or do this job again versus this work.
Yeah.
I've got a hunch. I'm curious, like, what feels harder, doing a job or continuing to do this work now that you're doing it?
Yeah, no, that's interesting. It's funny because I just signed to do a more almost full-time fractional role to help a company through a 90-day transition. And it's really been great. I've really enjoyed like parachuting into a team, even though it was like a little scary. And I always had the consultant as kind of a jerk. I'm like, but that's not how I act. And I just want to be here to help. And so I would say I'm actually really having a good time being able to help where I can and bring my expertise in a new way and establish myself as my own brand. It's been really cool. And I'm still doing like coding on my Health Zone product, and I'm doing some coaching with some people, which is, I just love that more than anything. Like I love helping someone get unstuck.
Yeah.
So same thing.
Well, and I guess there's something to it that I think getting out there and doing my own thing or our own thing felt hard. And then once we started, it's like every day is actually that is not to say that it's, that it's easy every day, because just yesterday, Whitney and I, so my partner and I we went out for lunch and we were having this working lunch or whatever. And on the way back to the car, I just said, gosh, I just feel like we need a vacation, the two of us. And she just looked at me, and her response to that was, that is such a joke. Like, entrepreneurs just don't get vacations. And it was like, I think it's true. Like, I think it's just,
I think you're always thinking about No, even when we go on vacation, my wife's always like getting up early to do some sort of marketing or forecasting for buying coffee. But she's always happy because it's her joy.
Yeah, exactly. This is just it. Yeah. So there's something to
that. Greg, this has been so much fun. I've loved the insight. Like I said, I was so excited to kind of talk to you about this, because I think the more people I've talked to, I think there is a lot of people who have these ideas and want to outreach, and they want to have some help, and they just don't know where to start. So if somebody wants to reach you and work with you and Whitney, what's the best place to kind of get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, thank you, Lee. It's been amazing to connect with you, and I'm excited for where our conversations are going to take us. I think the best place to go is to check out our programming. So it's vienna-waits.com/unblock yourself. And that'll give a really good rundown of what that program's all about, what we're all about. But if you're like, oh gosh, I just want to talk to these guys, give us an email, unblockyourself@vienna-waits.com.
Okay. Awesome, Greg. Well, I appreciate the time, and hopefully you're going to have you and Whitney and the fam are going to have a great weekend coming up. And
Canadian Thanksgiving. I think you guys have a holiday down there too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I don't even know. I guess
it's state by state. I forget about that, but it's Canadian Thanksgiving, which we know, the U.S. Thanksgiving is a different thing for you there than it is for us here. So we'll have some turkey and a get together, but then we also look forward to U.S. Thanksgiving, because then we get to watch the football too.
Oh, totally. Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. Watch my Cowboys.